its efficacy rate is lower than ECT, but I can't afford to lose any more memory. Yesterday was Tuesday, and I've already basically forgotten what happened then. I can't remember what's going to happen tomorrow. Can't remember what happened yesterday. Well, honestly, at this point, there's nothing to lose because I already don't have memory. So, I don't know. Maybe I will consider ECT. I'd consider anything to be happy right now, to be honest. So, yeah, I'll try to create that dating platform. I think that even if I won't personally achieve happiness, that at least hopefully someone else will find true love via our platform. What I hope to make is something that can help someone find that true happiness. The people like me that their entire lives, even as an adult, have been called weird and creepy and annoying. Those words hurt. People like me that have been rejected their entire lives. Who look close enough to quote normal to get their foot in the door, but are very quickly escorted out. Because I know that I look normal-ish, but there's something about my demeanor or the way I speak or the movement of my eyes that I think pulls something out of people at like a very subconscious level, where it's not where they're like, oh, something's off about that guy. They don't think about things like that in a very conscious sense. It's just that they don't necessarily feel an actual overt aversion to being around me, but they kind of just float away from me. And so it makes it very difficult to make new connections. Like I said, whether that's my way my eyes move, or the mannerisms of my voice, or my body language, or whatever, I've learned very much that as accepting as people say they are or want to be, it's all very performative. And that the only people that will ever truly accept autistic people, for the most part, are their mothers. And sometimes not even then. So, I think one of the things that are painful about people like me is that they seem normal enough that they're exposed a little bit to the good life, just to see what they can never have. And imagine that I was born on an island, and this island had food for me, and maybe like a monkey friend or something, I don't know. But I never saw necessarily the trappings of modern life. I never was exposed to people who would never really want anything to do with me. I'm guessing that might be okay. But when you witness what has been eluding you your entire life, when you witness what you can reasonably believe that, after a certain amount of time that you're never going to have, and you're exposed to it all the time, I think that's when it really starts to weigh on you. It's almost like the Gini coefficient, where crime tends to be low in very high income areas, and it tends to be relatively low in uniformly low income areas. But when it comes to areas where there's a very visible difference between the haves and have-nots, then there tends to be a lot of crime and disenfranchisement and such. And I think that's what many people probably with high functioning autism might feel. Of course, I'm only speaking from my perspective and not necessarily applicable to everyone, but I think it's reasonable to believe that I'm not the only one that's feeling this. I don't think necessarily that I deserve or don't deserve anyone, but I would like to try to create a fighting chance for people like me to have a greater opportunity to meet people that might be a little bit more open to them, a little more inclined to their way of speaking, or maybe they find a certain amount of beauty in the way people like me, and I assume others who I've met with adult high functioning autism, see the world. And so it would obviously be open to neurotypical people, but it would be catered more towards people with autism, high functioning autism, but other neurodiverse things, so that we can at minimum find community within ourselves. And on top of that, maybe if we are selective about the cities that we focus on, then we can also try to have, I guess, social events. Try to have social events somehow. What cities would I want to focus on? We simply don't have the budget to make it so that's everywhere. So it's not going to be ubiquitous like Tinder is. Man, look at those mountains. The mountains surround us, and this is not a particularly attractive part of the Bay Area, but it's still cool. So we would try to have social events So what cities would we focus on? I'm just trying to think geographically. I think we would only make it available in a few certain cities around the world. Boston, New York City, Washington, D.C., Chicago, Austin, Texas, Denver, San Diego, Los Angeles, San Francisco, Seattle, Vancouver, Toronto. Outside the US, it would be Singapore, Taipei, Hong Kong, Tokyo, Seoul, all of Vietnam, unless it's a big country, like huge country like the US, that we should have the dating pool from like countrywide. So for Japan, it should just basically be all of Japan. For instance, for South Korea, it should be all of South Korea. For Taiwan, it should be all of Taiwan. I don't think we're going to do any mainland China. I do think that we can do Hong Kong and Singapore as their own areas. I think for California, we should do all of California. Yeah, I think it should just be by state or region. Like New York and Boston are one region. I think that one thing that we need to consider is accessibility and ease of getting around. Because, for instance, it's a 6-hour drive from like Los Angeles to San Francisco. but it's like a 3-hour high-speed rail line from like the south port city Kaohsiung or whatever in Taiwan to Taipei in the north. And so that could all be within one region. So we need to consider things like that. So in theory, we want to consider ease of getting around and what the majority transportation style is. Because, for instance, Los Angeles and San Francisco are too far away from each other for reasonable dating, I think. I don't know. But Boston and New York City are not, if you consider owning a car or using like the train. I think San Diego and Los Angeles can be a single unit. Vancouver and Seattle might be able to be a single unit. All of Japan, I think, might be able to be a single unit. And I'm thinking that, like I said earlier about the video, maybe there's simply no texting at all. It's all video. Maybe. If it's all video, there's less surprise. We're not going to put age. We're not going to put education. We're not going to put height. Or should we? I don't know. All these things are still aspects of attractiveness. We're not going to put job. There's still going to be looksism. There's no way around that.